tonight. What is this double game? Pakistan has been adopting a public posture of neutrality in the Russia-Ukraine war, especially in the international platforms, and has been advocating ceasefire as well as mediation and negotiations. But it's actually supplying arms to Ukraine via air bridges. Ammunition manufactured in Pakistan's ordnance factories have found their way into the Ukrainian arsenal, which are being fired upon the Russian forces. Intelligence sources telling News 18 that on the one hand, Pakistan is supplying these arms and ammunition to Ukraine. On the other, Pakistan is wooing Russia for discounted crude oil. It's already started buying discounted crude oil from the Russians. Question is, don't the Russians know? So this is how it's happening. Sometime in August, we are given to understand, between the 6th and the 15th of August, there was an air bridge, 2022. There was an air bridge that was created. These air bridges were from Pakistani air base to nations like Romania, Poland and Germany, which is proving to be service conduits into Ukraine. The final endpoint is Kyiv. Pakistan allegedly is supplying arms to Ukraine using the Nur Khan air base and also the Karachi port. So from the Nur Khan air base, it goes to a British base in Mediterranean. From there, it is going into Romania. Or from the Karachi port, it's finding its way to Germany and to other nations like Poland. And from there, it's finding its way into Kyiv, into the arsenal. Intelligence sources saying Nur Khan air base in Rawalpindi, part of this arms route. Pakistan is also now going forward. It has entered into a contract with the British to service and provide nearly 340,000 projectiles. Rockets, Yarmouk rockets to Ukraine via the Nur Khan base. That's what it's going to ship. Intelligence sources also saying that Pakistan will increase production at its ordnance factory in Wah. And all this is to generate foreign exchange for a cash-strapped, parched in its coffers Pakistan, and somewhere help its economy revive. But the fact is, it's not neutral. Do the Russians know this? Will Russia be supplying cheap oil to a nation that is actually manufacturing arms, which is going to be fired by a nation and forces which are inimical to Russia? Bigger question, is Pakistan really neutral here? Pakistan's arms and ammunition in Ukraine, a 120mm mortar, high explosive cartridges are being reportedly in Ukraine. Part of the POF, they've got the POF markings, MBRL rockets, detonators, primers, fuses, and of course the M107 150mm projectiles. The Anza Mark II man-portable air defense systems are also going to be manufactured in Pakistan and then shipped to Ukraine. And this is a contractual obligation they have to take because they need the money. There is pressure from the West that they need to build this, manufacture this, but they're not supplying it to the country that's contracting it to manufacture. It's going via an air bridge conduit and finding its way into the NATO-backed conflict for Ukraine against Russia. So why does, on the other hand, Pakistan need Russia? The first reason is quoting Russia for the past few months to clinch a deal to import Russian crude oil at cheaper prices, as well as to obtain the much-needed spares for its military hardware. Again, Pakistan and Russia are discussing building a gas pipeline. So this is a strategic engagement that they are getting into. So they are batting on both sides. And does the other side not know? This double game, Pakistan is a past master in playing this game of deception. And right now, tonight, we are exposing this double game here on CNN News 18 on the right stand. Recently, during her India visit, Ukraine's Deputy Foreign Affairs Minister, Emin Zafar, confirmed that her country has had military contracts with Pakistan for decades, which was established during the 1990s. Listen.
Ma'am, there is media reports that Pakistan is supporting Ukraine through military equipments, military containers. Is it true?
We are not putting this question in that way that relations with Pakistan is not targeted against India. We had contracts for decades actually during like in 90s after the Soviet epoch. So this cooperation was since like many years before. But I believe that cooperation with India, and why I'm here actually, is to make Ukraine and India closer to each other. And we also have different suggestions in the military front, and I brought these suggestions on behalf of my president, and I hope that India will consider these suggestions, and that at the end of the day, Let us overcome the pages of history and build up a new history of our bilateral relations.
Now, in February 2023, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf lawmaker Dr. Zarqa Suharwadi raised questions in the Senate, the upper house of Pakistan, about the air bridges and weapons supply to Ukraine. But the Defense Ministry of Pakistan failed to respond.
सुना है सर कि यूक्रेन हमारे जहाज जा रहे हैं, पाकिस्तान ऑर्डिनेंस फैक्ट्री के हमारे असलहा वहां जा रहा है। अभी 2 दिन पहले हमारे जो बिलावल भुट्टो जरदारी साहब हैं बड़े अदब के साथ, और जो हिना रबानी खर साहिबा हैं, इनकी म्यूनिख में जर्मनी में मुलाकात हुई है यूक्रेन के फॉरेन मिनिस्टर से। मुझे नहीं पता सर वहां क्या बात हुई, लेकिन हमारा सवाल है, क्योंकि जहाज़ों की फ़ोटोज़ भी सबने देखी हैं, तो ये क्या हो रहा है? और अगर उसके एवज पैसे लिए जा रहे हैं, वो पैसे किसकी जेब में जा रहे हैं सर? हमें वो अपने स्टेट बैंक में पैसे चाहिए। और हमारी फॉरेन पॉलिसी क्या है? सब्र करें, सब्र करें।
So the question Dr. Zarqa is asking is, the pictures are out. What's the size of the deal and whose pocket is this money going into? Because it's not coming into the state coffers. That's what she's asking. Joining us now is Mr. Volodymyr Ariev, MP with the Ukrainian Parliament. Mr. Ariev, thank you for speaking with us here at CNN News 18. We've got information about Pakistan using air bridges to supply weapons to Ukraine in this conflict with Russia. Do you confirm, deny any of these developments? We are given to understand that Britain contracted Pakistan to make weapons in Pakistan's ordnance factory. And these rockets, these weapons were supposed to be used or supplied to the Ukrainian military.
Well, Ukraine is quite transparent about the sources who supply Ukraine with the weapon or other ammunition, and what I can clearly say that Pakistan is not in the list, and I don't have any information. I haven't seen from the top commanders of Ukrainian army or Ministry of Defense that we get the ammunition of Pakistan or have any contract with Pakistan producers of the weapon. Moreover, I would like to stress out that in case if Pakistan sending Ukraine to Ukraine the weapon, it cannot get any preferences from Russian Federation. But 4 days ago, Pakistan got the first cheap oil by new contracts with Moscow. That seems impossible if Moscow knows and informed about direct or with the third-hand supply of Ukrainian army with ammunition or clothes, etc.
Right.
So I do believe that this is a kind of information war that going on, and finally we have what I'm clearly seen by my own eyes, and I know that the shells, the ammunition were manufactured finally in the Western.
So 122 mm projectiles. Mr. Ariev, 122 mm projectiles have been found with POF markings or Pakistan Ordnance Factory markings. But Mr. Ariev, the British government has actually signed a contract with Pakistan in December 2022 to manufacture more than 340,000 projectiles, rockets without that's worth about $500 million, and this is for supply to the Ukrainian armed forces. Are you aware of this?
I do believe that it's international rules on the weapon market that re-export is possible only if a country has a permit from the state who sold the ammunition. So I think that this is a compensation for United Kingdom, which provides Ukraine by the ammunition it has and I don't heard any permission from
But
the Islamabad about
but Mr. Ariev,
transfer of any Pakistan
but Mr. Ariev,
to Ukraine.
in your own wisdom, won't you see it as a dangerous double game? On the one hand, they're taking contracts from allies of Ukraine, NATO forces, and on the other hand, they are buying oil from Russia and cozying up to the Russians while officially maintaining neutrality.
Well, I really don't have any confirmation that any kind of weapon were transferred from Romania to Ukraine, as well as the bridge for supplying Ukraine by weapon and ammunitions is not laced via Romania.
Right.
So I think that probably that if in a case if it exists, so probably this is a stop when Romania, as a NATO state, had a contract for interior NATO needs, as well as NATO provides not NATO but countries who are members of NATO. Directly provides Ukraine with the weapon produced in the states of coalition, like in the United States, in Bulgaria, and as well. So we, for a moment, don't need Pakistan ammunition, and I don't believe that
Mr. Ariev, Ukraine may not be directly buying, but if those who are helping Ukraine, NATO and entities who are using these nations as routes, we have confirmation that there was an air bridge that was created between the 6th and the 15th of August 2022, and that air bridge was from the Noor Khan Air Base in Rawalpindi to a British base in Mediterranean, and eventually to Romania, into Romania. Now, this is what sources have told us, that this did happen. And Britain then, like I said, has actually entered into a further $500 million contract in December 2022. Meanwhile, you say you have confirmation that Pakistan bought oil from Russia. So isn't that a double game, sir?
I don't hear. Well, the fact is clear that it could be manipulation of and speculation about the final destination of the ammunition. But what I clearly know that there were, as well as we have no storages in Ukraine, because all ammo goes directly to the front, and then from on the front line, our troops shelling over Russian army.
Right.
So no trail of Pakistan weapon was
But
found,
this is what reports are saying
by Russian troops. Otherwise, it will be a big scandal and no cooperation.
So you are saying no weapon systems or weapons made in the Pakistan Ordnance Factory has been found in Ukrainian arsenal, or which Ukrainian military is using, but reports are saying that 122 HE artillery projectiles made by Pakistani ordnance factories were spotted being used by Ukrainian artillery men. That's what reports are saying. So there seems to be a difference, a variance in positions there.
Well, so that's what I've said, that it's the fact is that the deepening of cooperation of Russia and Pakistan should be possible if Ukraine being supplied by Pakistan made ammunition.
Well, Mr. Volodymyr Ariev, thank you for your time. Thank you for speaking with us. Let me take this across to our other panelists who are joining us now. We have Ambassador Rajiv Dogra, former diplomat, joining us live. Kamar Chima, strategic and political analyst, joining us from Pakistan. But first, I'm going to go to Gleb Makarovich, who's a Russian journalist. Gleb, let me ask you, you just heard the Ukrainian MP who says we have no direct dealings with Pakistan. But there are clear reports which suggest that Pakistan is making ordnance upon contract from NATO entities, and their weapons are weapons made in the Pakistan Ordnance Factory are being used by Ukrainian artillerymen. On the other hand, Russia is selling cheap oil to Pakistan.
Yeah. So the fact is, we don't need any confirmation on these weapons because all public information is clear. It filters from Telegram channels affiliated to Russian army or Russian volunteers from, let's say, Wagner Group, that Ukrainians use Pakistan artillery. So I don't see any contradictions because I think that Pakistan army is inclined towards the West. Pakistan army wants to bolster its ties with the West, and despite the fact it does not confirm that they deliver arms to Ukraine, they could not refuse to Western partners. That is why Pakistan is, to some extent, is involved in the conflict because it had no way but to give those weapons. What about double game? That's, not a surprise at all for all Pakistan's observers in Russia and South Asian observers in Russia. We know that there are many centers of decision-making in Pakistan, and nowadays civilian government wants Russia to sell cheap oil, and Pakistan army wants to bolster ties with the West. There is nothing new, and I don't think that we need any kind of information. It's all clear. It could be found wherever you want.
So you're saying everybody knows of this double game, that there are two different levels of decision making. But if there is money being made by making ordnance Kamar Chima, I think Zarkaji had a fair point. Why isn't it coming into the State Bank of Pakistan? Who's pocketing that money?
No, I think there are a few angles to this story. The first angle to this entire story is that you are talking of that Pakistan is going to buy the cheap oil from the Russia and we are sending the weapons to the Ukraine. But the reality is that India imported $35 billion oil from Russia. India's dependence on Russian oil has increased by 30%. In reality, you are giving money to Russia to bomb Ukrainians. So you are a part of that plan that, yes, if the Ukrainians are being killed and the entire infrastructure is being damaged in Ukraine, you are funneling the money to the to the Russians, and you have abstained in the UN Security Council and the UN General Assembly for giving any kind of a vote to this Russian aggression. So I am unable to understand what is India's policy. The Ukrainian MP said that we don't have information. The Russian journalist says that we don't have any information of that.
No, Russian journalist says that there it is confirmed. Russian journalist. See, you can try and spin it and make it about India. The story is about Pakistan, Kamar Chima. $500 million. Kamar Chima, except if the Pakistan ordnance factory is making weapons, $500 million is God-sent money for a parched economy like Pakistan. But where is that money? Why isn't it there with the State Bank of Pakistan?
You are giving money to Russians to bomb.
Why do you try and so you are making weapons for Ukrainians to bomb the Russians, and then you're telling the Russians to sell me oil for cheap? That's a far bigger dangerous dirty game that you are playing, Kamar Chima. Can you answer? Can you for once, sir? Can you for once on my show, Mr. Kamar Chima, please show a semblance of intelligence and answer the question which is in the syllabus of the debate. Mr. Kamar Chima, respectfully, sir, can you for once display the intelligence that you claim to have and underline the PhD that you have, and please answer the question which is the subject matter of the debate. Can you do that, Mr. Kamar Chima? I am going to ask you once again. Can you, for the sake of this debate, stay within the syllabus of the debate and not go out of syllabus, because these questions are uncomfortable for you. I am asking you, sir. I am asking you the same question asked by a member of the Senate of Pakistan. If there is a $500 million deal that's been inked, Where is that $500 million? Why is it not there in the State Bank of Pakistan?
It's not worth it. The
Why is it
Ukrainian
not?
parliamentary-
Why is it not there? Okay, Ambassador Rajiv Dogra. Okay, we've hence proved quod erat demonstrandum, a theory in mathematics which says hence proved, as is the action. Once again, Mr. Kamarchima, the questions are uncomfortable for you and you are not in a position to answer them straight face. The question is not about India. India is not hiding the fact that it's buying oil from Russia. India is doing it because it has got to back 1/5 of the population of the country. The people. No, the point is you are giving weapons to the Ukrainians to bomb the Russians and telling the Russians, you please give us oil for cheap. That's a far dirtier game that you're playing. While you're not even telling your own people that we are actually taking contracts from the West and we are making money, and it's not even reflecting in the State Bank's coffers, State Bank of Pakistan's coffers. So I want to restrict myself and come back to a semblance of sanity here. Ambassador Rajiv Dogra, why will the Russians, knowing this, sell oil? Why has this not been flagged? And can Pakistan get away with this kind of deception? When I hear Gleb say, the Russians know this, civilian government wants oil from us, army is wanting to cozy up to the West. We know it. So this deception is a given, is okay, is all right.
Well, even your Ukrainian guest said in a very clever way that look, they are not sending weapons directly to Ukraine. But he did not deny that weapons were reaching Romania and, as Western media has extensively said, also Poland, where there's a large ammunition depot which has been established by Britain and USA.
Yes.
So what is happening on ground is that in reality, Pakistan is not supplying weapons to Ukraine or ammunition to Ukraine. It is supplying all these things to Poland and Romania. The second thing is, since Pakistan by itself cannot manufacture anything beyond a needle, how is it that Pakistani ammunition is going there? Is it not possible that whatever Pakistan is supplying is Chinese manufacture? So Pakistan has a lot to answer, not just to the world opinion, but also to China, as to why is it diverting technology that China is giving it to manufacture ammunition to an enemy of China's ally, which is Russia. So that is the big question. The second big question is that what is Russia doing about it? Why is it selling oil to Pakistan at cheap rate when it knows its soldiers are being killed? Now, there Russia are used to being deceived by Pakistan. Please remember that Soviet Union was defeated by joint efforts of Pakistan and US via the Taliban and Al-Qaeda in the 80s. Despite that, Soviet Union, after its disintegration into 15 parts, has cozied up to Pakistan. So in a way, it is deserving what it is getting. But the bigger question that Ukrainians themselves must ask them is whether Pakistan ammunition is worth it. Is it really firing as it claims to fire? Because Pakistan ammunition, there was recently a disclosure by Mr. Hamid Mir, that General Bajwa said that our tanks cannot even fire ammunition. So if they cannot fire ammunition within Pakistan, how do you expect Pakistani shells to fire in Ukraine?
See, point is right now in Ukraine, like the Ukrainian minister said, there is no depot. Everything is being sent to the front because they will take whatever comes their way in this fight against Russia. Russia has drawn and carved out 18 to 20% of the portion which it wants to secure for itself as part of Ukraine, to ensure it's got direct passage not just to Crimea but also to the warm waters of the Sea of Azov and the Black Sea. But my final question, Gleb, is why is Russia selling oil to Pakistan? Why is Russia allowing itself to get played? Because you yourself said that yes, the deal is happening with the civilian government.
So, as for me, I don't know the answer to this question, because we haven't received any details on this deal. This deal should have been signed in late March with all the details. I don't know what kind of oil should be transported to Pakistan, because its refineries cannot work with Russian oil. It was they were aimed at working with Iranian oil. I want to know through which kind of transport it will be transported. I don't know any other details concerning this deal, and it was not confirmed officially so far. But the first tranche is going to be there by late May. I hope that we will know those details. So far, I cannot answer this question because no one in this world knows the details of the deal.
So you can't answer that detail, but it does beat you.
I have many questions myself.
Yes, go ahead.
And I didn't get the answers.
You haven't got the answers yet. Let's hope we do get the answers. But one aspect is that this nation's deception stands exposed. Everybody knows what's going on, and their denial doesn't matter because the acceptance has come from multiple corners. So at least play the game straight and be upfront about what you're doing. And more importantly, if money is being made out of making ordnance, Kamar Chima, it should come to the people of Pakistan. It should not go into somewhere else. The question is, it's not reflecting in the State Bank of Pakistan. Where is that money going? That's the bigger question which stands. So it's a factual aspect. The people of Pakistan are being played, the West is being played, the Russians are being played, everybody knows who's playing who, but it's still happening. It's not going to last for long, sir. It's not going to last for long. I thank you very much. I thank you, Gleb, and I thank you, Kamar Chima. I have to move on for the moment. Ambassador Rajiv Dogra stays on with us to yet another big development, ladies and gentlemen. Days after the Poonch terror attack and ahead of the SCO summit, External Affairs Minister Subramaniam Jaishankar calling out the terrorism activities that India's neighbors have continued to indulge in terror acts against India. S. Jaishankar, on a two-day state visit to Panama, addressed a joint press briefing and said that it's very difficult to engage with a neighbor who practices cross-border terrorism against India. Dr. Jaishankar added that India does not sponsor or carry out terror activities and hopes to reach the same stage with its neighbors. This is the third time this year that Dr. Jaishankar has slammed Pakistan for cross-border terrorism.
Bottom line on this issue is that it is for us very difficult to engage with a neighbor who practices cross-border terrorism against us. We have always said that they have to deliver on their commitment not to encourage, sponsor and carry out cross-border terrorism. We continue to hope that one day we would reach that stage. Just as, a country has to fix its economic issues, a country has to fix its political issues too. A country has to fix its social issues. No country is ever going to come out of a difficult situation and become a prosperous power if its basic industry is terrorism. I think epicenter is a very diplomatic word, because this is a country which has attacked the Parliament of India some years ago, which attacked the city of Mumbai, which went after hotels and foreign tourists, which every day sends terrorists across the border. If you control your sovereign space, which I believe they do, if the terrorist camps operate in broad daylight in cities with recruitment and financing, can you really tell me that the Pakistani state doesn't know what's going on?
And to the exclusive information, our investigations editor Manoj Gupta getting us these details, where intel sources are telling News 18 that Lashkar's desperation is out. Fund management pressure to collect funds after Pakistan was pressured by the FATF. Variants of the terror group have been banned globally. There is a fight for relevance, and this group has gone dark after the ISI ordered to join Taliban. There is a pressure to show strength to stay relevant in Pakistan itself for the Lashkar-e-Taiba. Leadership change. There is a fight for takeover of the reins after Hafiz Saeed's arrest. Khalid bin Walid, also known as Khalid Naik's need to position himself, is coming to the fore. The funds for politics. On the 18th of March 2023, the Lashkar relaunched their political party. And their fund collection is actually going slow. There is no money among the people. Financiers are being forced to be nudged. International help is also not coming. There is a change of guard in POK. and the change of PM in POK is actually giving impetus to Lashkar over Jaish. So there is this one-upmanship game that is happening over Taliban. It also depending on ISI for local Mujahideen and the need for local Mujahideen to unleash terror. There is a bit to show capability as Pak-Taliban with such an attack. So a lot of these aspects stand out, ladies and gentlemen. There is a Kacha op retaliation. There was a retaliation because the Pakistan army has hampered LET's operations in Punjab, Sindh. So there are a lot of attacks which are being unleashed to put Pakistan in a corner internationally. So these are what sources are saying in terms of Lashkar's desperation. SP Vaid, the former DGP JNK, is with us. So is Ambassador Rajiv Dogra. So on the backdrop of the Poonch terror attack and at a time when Bilawal Bhutto is going to come for the SCO sometime next week, Dr. Jaishankar reiterates that this nation is indulging in cross-border terrorism. There is now also a desperation from the jihadi tanzeems that stands exposed. Ambassador Rajiv Dogra, how would you see this?
Well, there's no doubt that after what happened in Rajouri, where 5 of our Jawans were killed, no one can rest easy in India. And the message that Pakistan has given is very blatant and very brutal, that terrorism will continue. The question for us is twofold. Number one, what to do with Bilawal Bhutto when he comes in. My response to that would be twofold. Number one, that we will not do what happened when Mr. Rajnath Singh went as Home Minister to Pakistan and the Home Minister of Pakistan, that horrible man, refused to attend his own lunch in honor of the delegates that he had invited. So India is not known for being crude in its hospitality and being rude to people it has invited. So the Foreign Minister of Pakistan, along with foreign ministers of other SCO member states, would participate in the deliberations. That is one. Second, whether there will be a pull aside or a bilateral meeting, well, that depends on how things develop between now and the actual SCO meeting. But the fact is that even at the worst of times, countries other than India, Pakistan, and even India, Pakistan, have engaged in some kind of a contact. There are reports that India and Pakistan had back channel talks going, even during some of the worst incidents of terror. So we have to weigh whether some kind of a dialogue is going to help us achieve our objectives, is going to help us convey our message firmly but diplomatically, since a guest from Pakistan has come. So it's a little ticklish question.
We don't want them here, frankly, but it's SCO, it's not a bilateral. And there is no way, after what Dr. Jaishankar has said today, that there's going to be any engagement. Because if there is any engagement, then all this talk falls flat. But Mr. SP Vaid, if the tanzeems are getting desperate for attention, because the pie in terms of the money and share of attention is dropping, that also should worry us, because these people will do something here. It's the innocents who will die and India will suffer.
Yes, Anand, yes, what you said is absolutely right. There is desperation in the tanzeems for one-upmanship. And see, as far as Poonch attack is concerned, the PFF has already owned it. If Pakistan wants even slightest improvement and in relationship, it knows who are the people who have done it, and it needs to take them into custody and hand them over to India or take action against them. See, you can't pursue this policy of jihad against India. You can't pursue this policy of 1,000 cuts and Gazbai-Hind and expect India to talk to you. Talk what? Talk with whom? Who's engineering this? Is it the deep state? Is it the establishment? Or is it political leadership? And who do we talk to? Who actually controls all this? So India needs to know this very, very clear. And only then I think India should move forward. Already, as far as ceasefire is concerned, it was Pakistan who needed the ceasefire. And the offer came from them, India accepted it. as a good neighbor. But we know it was their requirement because their Western Front was very active. And the Pakistan's intentions, I note it, and you all note it, has not changed. It continues to do what it was doing even when the LOC was hot. It continues to drop weapons, drugs. It continues to push the groups, and that's why you have an attack like what you saw 2 days back in Poonch. So its agenda against India continues. Then what are we gaining out of even ceasefire? So let me make it very clear. I think what Dr. Jaishankar said, absolutely, you can't deal with such a neighbor. It's so difficult. Who's treacherous, who says something and does something else. One should be very, very clear. Okay, we have a policy of jihad against India. We will continue this for 1,000 years. Then we will face it. But don't stretch and talk something else and do something behind the back.
See, there is a desperation, sir, and SP Vaid Sahab and Ambassador Rajiv Dogra, I just want to add another dynamic and dimension to this. We'll take this conversation beyond Pakistan and the terrorism aspect to a larger issue, because strategically we find ourselves challenged at the UN. So I request you to please stay back, Mr. Vaid, and also I'd like your thoughts on this quickly, because what Ruchira Kamboj has said becomes very interesting at the UN, and I'm going to bring that dynamic. India sending out a very stern message at the UN. India's envoy to the UN, Ruchira Kamboj, alleging bias for 5 nations and questioning the effectiveness of multilateralism. She's asked, can we practice effective multilateralism by defending a charter that makes 5 nations more equal than the others and provides to each of those 5 the power to ignore the collective will of the remaining 188 member states? That's the veto power. The point, and time and again has been raised by India, that is reform the UN. First, let's listen to what Ruchira Kamboj said, and then we'll tell you why there's a need to reform the UN.
Can we practice effective multilateralism by defending a charter that makes 5 nations more equal than others and provides to each of those 5 the power to ignore the collective will of the remaining 188 member states? India was a founding signatory to the UN Charter when it was signed on 26 June 1945 in San Francisco. 77 years later, when we see the world's largest democracy along with entire continents of Africa and Latin America being kept out of global decision-making, we rightly call for a major course correction.
Let's go back to SP Vaid ji and Ambassador Rajiv Dogra. Mr. SP Vaid, do you agree this 75-year-old organization is defunct in its current form? And if India needs to get anything done, there needs to be a complete overhaul of the UN.
Absolutely. Anandji, I completely agree with our permanent representative, what she said. You look at today, India is the most populous country and the largest democracy in the world. And look at the absolutely no representation from Africa, from Latin America, and a country like India. And look at the performance of United Nations last few decades. You saw Russia-Ukraine war, how UN is being ineffective to get it as ceasefire and stop this war. Look at terrorism, the way India is suffering and many other countries are suffering. What has the UN been able to do? Look at what happened during COVID. Ultimately, it was India's Prime Minister's policy to distribute a vaccine. Right. What was the role of UN? Tell me, could UN do much, whatever was expected from it? So look at the role of United Nations. I think it's high time India gives a stern warning, and I think she has done it very rightly. Otherwise, India needs to walk out of UN if they do not give proper representation.
That's the larger point, Ambassador Rajiv Dogra. Unless these veto powers are taken away from these 5 nations and there is equal representation for majority of the countries which today have changed the discourse. 75 years ago, the story was different. In the 50s, 60s, story was different. Today's story is different. Most of these UN members are not even strong economic powers today.
Well, absolutely, you're right. The story has changed, but the actors refuse to change. And the reason why I say that is that in 1945, when UN was formed, there were less than 50 member states. Today, there are close to 200 countries in the world which are members of United Nations. Second, the power dynamic has changed. Take, for example, United Kingdom, which is also one of the 5 countries which occupy the global high table, the Security Council membership. Now, does it by any standard deserve that? It is no longer the power that it was during the Second World War or immediately thereafter. It is not even a member of European Union. So it can claim only to represent itself, and soon it may not be able to represent even that united part of its name because Scotland wants to opt out.
Correct.
So it is like a big village which is taking upon itself a role which does not suit it any longer. But there are practical problems to it. This is not the first time that India has voiced its concern, or other countries have voiced their concern that UN is not representative at all, and UN has lost its mojo, its basic wherewithal to have an effective voice in the world. It is just like a poodle of United States in most major issues.
Correct.
So, but the issue that India faces is countries like Pakistan, countries like China, countries like Italy, which are opposed to any move to expand the Security Council or to accommodate countries like India, Japan or Germany, which deserve rightfully a place on the global high table. So it's going to be a long battle. But the fact is that despite or in spite of United Nations Security Council, India has a voice which is heard and counted in the world today.
Yeah, but then it has to be made official. Otherwise, let's just get out of the UN and let's get all the other nations also to get out of the UN and until these 5 nations go to heel, because it cannot be a hegemony and 5 nations cannot have a veto power over the rest of the countries. Somewhere that seems very, very unfair in this changing face of things, and you can't have multilateralism truly. Somewhere one, echoes with what Ruchira Kamboj had said there very beautifully. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time. Always wonderful speaking with you, putting matters into the right perspective here on The Right Stand. We're going to take a very short break. When we come back, it's the latest on Atiq Ahmed. And the murder probe gets underway and more details come to the fore. Atiq and Ashraf's connection with the terrorist Jaishankar and the details about the 36 bullets that were fired in 16 seconds. Stay with us.
Churches in Madhya Pradesh, in Uttarakhand attacked. Why are there so many instances where minorities have been attacked? And since we're talking about Christians in particular, this really disturbs the Christian community. But of course, when you talk about Startup India, Skilled India, madam, you must tell us, where did Make in India go? It has just disappeared. You're saying that the party has not done anything for the majority, not done enough for the majority as much as they have done for the minority. Well, you said it. The government has not done anything for anybody because the BJP only knows one leader. So they want one nation, one leader, and everybody else to be subservient to them.
But ma'am, you saw the images. Sujata Paul, you saw the images earlier this evening of the Prime Minister being greeted with flower petals, that 2-kilometer walk that he did in Kochi, and the 50,000 people who attended his rally. Surely this would not have been possible of a BJP leader 5 years ago or even 10 years ago in the state of Kerala. But today, this is a politically significant event.
No, one must also remember that this is the Christian community which is welcoming the Prime Minister respectfully, and that is how the Prime Minister of the country should be welcomed. Are you trying to say that the people of Kerala, just because they are minorities, they should have been hurling stones like the Bharatiya Janata Party goons do? Well, that is not the way to do it. And I might as well remind you that Madam just mentioned unemployment as a major problem of Kerala. Well, the country is still waiting for the 2 crore jobs that were promised by the Bharatiya Janata Party government. Now it's 9 years and there are no jobs which people can speak about. And before Corona,
let me go, ma'am, with your permission.
Of unemployment of 45 years, madam.
Let me go to Smita Prakash of ANI. Smita, you know, the issue for the BJP is they've got a very tough and a very competitive election in Karnataka that's coming up. They have not made the kind of inroads in southern India that they'd hoped to. They are hoping that they will do so in Telangana to some extent, possibly even Tamil Nadu. Why is expanding to the south such an important part of the BJP's strategy or plan for 2024? And how easy or difficult may that be if, and I know it's a big if, but if the BJP were to lose Karnataka?
So, yes. I think, Zaka, that you are right, that, you know, if winning state or states in southern India is extremely important to the BJP, because they don't want any part of India to be seen as a no-go zone for the BJP. And they want to shed that image of it being a Hindi party, a Hindi language party, or a north-based party. Just like, you know, if you remember, in the 90s, they had this image of being a Baniya kind of a party, a Hindu Baniya party, a shopkeepers party. These are the kind of epithets that used to be used for the BJP, that, you know, the same way that it's a Hindu majority party, doesn't look at non-Hindu areas. But, you know, they proved that wrong by getting into states in the Northeast. People used to say Northeast mein to BJP aa hi nahi sakti, and somehow they managed to make inroads out there. How they do it is a different matter. Now, as far as South India is concerned, it's always been a thorn in the flesh. They haven't been able to make inroads there because regional parties are very strong in southern India. In Karnataka, they are there, but very precarious situation, as we know. Now, as far as Kerala is concerned, they've been making strong attempts before the 2024 Lok Sabha elections. Now, you know, Prime Minister Modi is the central focus of the campaign by the party. But this outreach to the Christian community is very interesting. And I don't believe that the outpouring that you saw today is just hospitality, as the Congress spokesperson would have us believe. They have been trying to reach out to the Christian missionaries. And they've also been trying to reach out to the youth of the state. The campaign in Kerala has also, been towards beyond ideological issues, as the clip that you played just now of Prime Minister Modi saying that, you know, tired ideological battles is something of the past. Think about something new. So the new is going to be about development agenda, and that is why this Vande Bharat or that Yuvam program that they have, they want to reach out to, you know, those disgruntled youth who have moved away from the Congress-led UDF. So they want to bring those people into the BJP. So there seems to be some kind of a change, a minor change maybe, but the Congress is kind of confident that despite Mr. Modi being there, once Rahul gets into this outreach mode in the month of May, Rahul will be able to negate whatever impact Mr. Modi has done. They are that confident in Rahul Gandhi in Kerala.
Sujata, let me start with, Shilpa Nair of the BJP. The BJP has been a third player in the state of Kerala, where it's always alternated between the CPM and the Congress. Why should the people of Kerala...
Back on the right stand with the latest on Uttar Pradesh, the Umesh Pal murder, and of course Atiq and Ashraf being shot down. The crackdown on Atiq's gang continues. CNN News 18 has accessed a list of mafia. 121 gang members and 58 associates of Atiq have been named in this. This is an updated list from 2021. This is the latest on 2023. From Prayagraj to Chandoli to Mughal Sarai, Atiq's crime spread right across. The gang includes gangsters ranging from 22 years to the age of 80 years. The list includes names of shooters like Ashfaq, Mahfood Hafiz, Shakil, Bablu, Sheikh Abrar, Nasir, Ramesh Kesarwani and Sher Ali, among others. According to the list, the majority of Atiq's gang members hail from Prayagraj district itself, and the state police has formed several teams to nab them. Some of them are on the run, some of them are in jail. A crackdown on the illegal encroachments on a lot of these has also started. Meanwhile, the SIT is probing Atiq and Ashraf Ahmed's case, and that revealed that the three shooters fired as many as 34 bullets in 16 seconds at Atiq and his brother outside the Prayagraj hospital. The SIT reveals that the assailants were carrying two Turkish-made Zigana pistols and one pistol made in Munger in Bihar, that is Mungeri pistol. While the accused Sunny fired about 16 bullets from the Zigana, Lavlesh fired 13 bullets, and Arun Maurya fired the remaining from his Mungeri pistol. So SIT reveals that the accused bought weapons from Jitendra Gogi's gang, and it was his idea that they pose as media people. However, it is said that the accused Sunny fled Delhi with all the equipment and pistols when Jitendra Gogi was shot dead in a gang war at a court in Delhi's Rohini back in 2021. The investigation also revealed that the shooters aspired to become like Lawrence Bishnoi and also saw the video of Punjabi singer Sidhu Moosewala's murder multiple times. Meanwhile, the Uttar Pradesh police is now probing Atiq and Ashraf Ahmed's Pak ISI link. UP police sources tell CNN News 18 that Atiq Ahmed's brother Ashraf helped a terrorist get a passport. Ashraf had got Zishan Kamar's passport made. Ashraf wrote a letter to the passport officer about getting to know Zishan Kamar. Zishan Kamar was allegedly trained in Pakistan to use arms and ammunition and also explosives. Zishan was arrested in 2021 from Kareli and was accused of conducting terrorist activities on the pretext of selling dates online.
माफिया डॉन अतीक अहमद और उसके भाई अशरफ के ISI कनेक्शन पर अब एक और दस्तावेज सामने आ गया है जो इस पुलिस बल की उस थ्योरी पर मुहर लगाता है कि ये दोनों ISI के संपर्क में थे। दरअसल इसी इलाके से आतंकी जीशान की गिरफ्तारी हुई थी और उसी जीशान के पासपोर्ट के लिए अशरफ ने अपने लेटर हेड पर लिख कर दिया था। ये वही इलाका है जहां से जीशान की गिरफ्तारी हुई थी और जीशान ISI के लिए काम करता था। इसके लिए न्यूज़ 18 के पास सबसे बड़ा सबूत वो लेटर है जो अशरफ ने पासपोर्ट अधिकारी को दिया था, जिसमें जीशान कमर की पासपोर्ट को बनाने की बात कही थी। जीशान को पाकिस्तान में हथियार चलाने और प्रयागराज में रहकर आतंकी गतिविधियों को बढ़ाने के लिए ट्रेनिंग दी गई थी। ट्रेनिंग के बाद वह कुछ साथियों को लखनऊ के रास्ते प्रयागराज लाया था और नैनी स्थित पोल्ट्री फार्म में छुपा दिया था। वह ऑनलाइन खजूर बेचने के बहाने ये पूरा नेटवर्क चला रहा था। 2021 में जीशान कमर को इसी इलाके से, इसी मोहल्ले से गिरफ्तार किया गया था। पुलिस ने ये बात पहले कही थी कि ये अतीक और अशरफ लगातार ISI के संपर्क में थे। ये वहाँ से इलीगल वेपन्स यानी अवैध हथियारों का व्यापार करते थे जो पंजाब में ड्रोन्स के जरिए गिराए जाते थे और फिर उनको डिस्ट्रीब्यूट किया जाता था। अब जब ये लेटर सामने आया है तो ऐसे में उस बात पर मोहर लग गई है और पुलिस बल की थ्योरी को बढ़ावा मिला है। जीशान कमर की 2021 में गिरफ्तारी हुई थी। उसने न सिर्फ पाकिस्तान में ट्रेनिंग ली बल्कि प्रयागराज में भी अपने नेटवर्क को बढ़ाया। लखनऊ से कई अपने साथियों को लेकर प्रयागराज के नैनी स्थित पोल्ट्री फार्म में छुपा दिया था।
Now, Atiq hatched a very foolproof plan to kill Umesh Pal and decided that his son will oversee the plan to protect his identity. A monkey cap was ordered to cover Asad's face. Police also got this monkey cap. Apart from this, Asad gave his mobile phone and ATM card to his special henchman in Lucknow and his very close aide Atiq Zafar before the murder of Umesh Pal. So he left it back in Lucknow so he could say that he was never there. His location would be shown as Lucknow, geolocation based on his phone. Now, as part of the plan, it was decided that while Asad would be with his aides when they murder Umesh Pal, his aide Atiq Zafar would withdraw money from an ATM machine in Lucknow from Asad's card to mislead the cops. Asad's aide Atiq did exactly that as planned. At the time of Umesh Pal's murder, Atiq had withdrawn money from Asad's card at an ATM in Lucknow. But Asad stepped out of the car and got caught on camera. That's what happened. In the investigation, cops also found a CCTV photo of Atiq withdrawing money from Asad's ATM card. After this, Atiq Zafar fled to Telangana. However, the cops then later took Atiq into custody.
विधायक राजू पाल हत्याकांड के मुख्य गवाह उमेश पाल हत्याकांड की जांच कर रही SIT ने बड़ा खुलासा किया है। दरअसल इस पूरे घटनाक्रम को फुल प्रूफ प्लानिंग के तहत अंजाम दिया गया था उमेश पाल मर्डर के पहले अतीक अशरफ और उसके सभी शागिर्दों ने बड़ी प्लानिंग बनाई थी। इस प्लानिंग में ये बात तय थी कि असद इस पूरे मर्डर कांड को लीड करेगा, लेकिन असद पुलिस की रडार से बच जाए इसलिए दो महत्वपूर्ण काम किए गए थे। पहला, असद के लिए मंकी कैप मंगाई गई थी ताकि वो सीसीटीवी फुटेज में ना आए। ये वही घटना स्थल है जहां पर ये पूरा कांड हुआ था। असद को घटना के समय मंकी कैप पहननी थी और मंकी कैप अगर वो पहनता तो सीसीटीवी फुटेज में नहीं आता। दूसरी बड़ी चीज, असद का एक साथी यतिन उसी समय असद के एटीएम से लखनऊ में पैसे निकालेगा, जिससे लोकेशन स्टेब्लिश हो जाए कि असद तो लखनऊ में एटीएम से पैसे निकाल रहा था। जिस वक्त ये घटना घटी उस वक्त असद का साथी यतिन लखनऊ के एटीएम में जाता है, जिसके फुटेज भी अब पुलिस ने बरामद कर लिए हैं। असद को मंकी कैप पहननी थी, लेकिन असद ने सोचा, असद लगातार ये खुद को प्रूव करना चाहता था। असद अपने परिवार का एक अकेला ऐसा लड़का था जिसको अतीक और अशरफ दोनों ही निगलेक्ट करते थे। असद जब यहाँ पर पहुंचा, इस जगह गाड़ी खड़ी हुई, तो असद ने स्वयं ये तय डिसीजन लिया कि वो बाहर आएगा और उमेश पाल पर गोलियां बरसाएगा ताकि प्रयागराज में उसका खौफ हो और अतीक और अशरफ उस पर प्राउड फील कर सके।
वहीं जाके तो गड़बड़ हो गई, because he got caught in the CCTV camera. Meanwhile, the UP STF team has recreated the Asad Ghulam encounter scene in Jhansi. Asad and his aide Ghulam died in a police encounter on the 13th of April. So 12 days later, the UP STF recreates what transpired. Meanwhile, a manhunt is also on to nab Shaista Parveen. She is Atiq's wife. CNN News 18 has accessed two pictures of Atiq's wife, Shaista Parveen, who's an accused in the Umesh Pal murder case. And according to police sources, UP STF found a CCTV video in which Shaista Parveen was seen talking to someone on the mobile phone, and this is when she's on the run. These are recent pictures. Both these pictures have been extracted from the same CCTV video. However, from where the UP STF got this photo and what the exact location is, the cops have not said much about it, but they have also revealed to News 18 that Shaista Parveen met with all the shooters of Umesh Pal on that very day soon after they committed the crime. Moving on, as we wind up, Bengaluru witnessed zero shadow day at 12:17 p.m. this Tuesday when the sun was directly overhead, and hence the reference pole casting no shadow there. Zero shadow day occurs twice a year when vertical objects cast no shadows, creating a moment that appears quite surreal to observers. Bengaluru locals who witnessed the phenomenon shared a range of photos and videos. The reference pole could be any vertically placed object which, owing to the sun being directly overhead, would turn shadowless. This rare celestial phenomenon mostly occurs in regions near the equator, between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, regions that fall between this area, and that's what reports confirm. The next incident will be on the 18th of August 2023. Zero shadow day refers to this celestial phenomenon that occurs near the Earth's equator. The areas which can witness and experience this phenomenon fall between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. On this day, vertical objects do not cast any shadows because the sun is directly overhead. And this is in alignment with the tilting of the Earth's axis. So sunlight and not creating any shadows on ground. This phenomenon occurs twice a year, typically once in the northern hemisphere and once in the southern hemisphere when the sun is directly overhead in the regions near the equator. The second zero day, like I said, set to take place on the 18th of August 2023. Date and times of occurrence of this phenomenon vary depending upon the location on Earth in relation to the sun. Interesting, isn't it? We are out of here. Time for Brass Tacks with Zaka.
Good evening, this is Brass Tacks. I'm Zaka. Jacob, there is a huge controversy on the 4% Muslim quota which was scrapped by the Bombay government in Karnataka and distributed among Vokaligas and Lingayats, the two major castes. But today the Supreme Court effectively put a stay on the quota till the 9th of May, which is the next date of hearing. The BJP has made this Muslim quota a big election issue, a big talking point on the campaign trail by saying that this is evidence that the Congress and the rest of the opposition only